Have you ever thought about how games are actually trying to persuade you? Games aren't just entertainment, they are complex worlds shaped by rules. In this video, I'll be exploring concepts from influential thinkers such as Ian Bagast, a game designer and scholar who coined the term procedural rhetoric, Xi-Tai Nguyen, a philosopher who argues that games shape the way we think by designing structured experiences, Cathy O'Neil, who informs us that algorithms contain embedded biases within them, and Walter Ong, a media theorist who shows how technology not only shapes what we do, but how we think. My name's Sarah Caudell, and in this video, I'll be exploring how game designers use game systems to shape our ideologies, primarily using the example of Halo 3. But first, let's ground ourselves in some foundational ideals about persuasion from game scholar Ian Bagast. Bagast draws on Aristotle's classic definition of rhetoric as the faculty of observing in any given case the available means of persuasion. But he pushes this further. Persuasion isn't just about hitting your target, it's about crafting a system that creates a space for players to explore possibilities and interpret meaning on their own terms. Video games, Bagast argues, are procedural representations. They don't just describe processes, they enact them. Just like how people perform procedures in daily life, crossing the street or setting the table, games do the same but within a designed system. He describes video games as a system of nested enthymemes, a fancy term for arguments with some premises left unstated, which players complete through their interaction. An enthymeme is essentially a persuasive argument that expects the audience to fill in the gaps. And importantly, Bagast acknowledges that cultural context shapes how games are made and played. But games themselves can question or reinforce those cultural values. Here's Ian Bagast explaining procedural rhetoric in his own words.
Procedural rhetoric is a kind of model building. You're trying to express an idea or make an argument by building a model of some kind, and then someone comes along and they mess around with that model and they say, oh, okay, I see your argument about how this thing works or could work or might work differently. So
that's the power of procedural rhetoric. It invites players to engage with systems, to explore and even challenge ideals through play. So with that framework in mind, let's get into it. Halo 3, one of the most iconic campaigns ever made. The game doesn't just tell a story about war and survival, it argues for unity through its gameplay. Master Chief and the Arbiter used to be enemies. Now, they have to fight side by side to stop both a religious empire, the Covenant, and a parasitic apocalypse catalyzed by the Flood. And here's the thing, the game makes you feel that alliance, even with your teammate disappearing on you.
Come on, Spartan, go, go, go!
Fuck Cyber. Oh, you're invisible. Whether you're swapping roles in co-op or watching their quiet nods of respect in cutscenes, Halo 3 uses mechanics and visual design to say something powerful. That survival and even peace comes from cooperation across differences. But to really understand the weight of this alliance between Arbiter and Master Chief, we have to go back, way back, before the Covenant, before humanity, to the Forerunners. These ancient beings built the Halo rings as weapons of last resort, designed to wipe out all sentient life to stop the parasitic threat of the Flood. And then there's mendicant bias, the AI they created to fight the Flood, except it switched sides. Convinced by the Gravemind's logic, the collective consciousness of the Flood, it betrayed the Forerunners, accelerating their downfall. This ancient betrayal echoes in the current war. The prophets who led the Covenant misinterpret Forerunner tech as divine. They think activating the rings will bring salvation, not destruction. So now Master Chief and the Arbiter aren't just fighting a physical war, they're fighting a war of belief, of history misread and weaponized. As Cathy O'Neil puts it, these models are constructed not just from data, but from the choices we make about which data to pay attention to and which to leave out. Those choices are fundamentally moral. The Covenant prophets chose faith over fact, and mendicant bias chose logic without morality. Those choices aren't just technical, they're immoral. O'Neil's message resonates with the core of Halo 3's lore.
Save the rest. Can you see, Arbiter? The moment of salvation is at hand.
It will not last.
Your kind never believed in the promise of the sacred ring.
Lies for the weak, beacons for the deluded. I will have my revenge. On a prophet, not a plague.
My feet tread the path. I shall become a god.
You will be food, nothing more.
No! I am truth, the voice of the Covenant.
So, you must be silenced.
And it doesn't stop there. Later in the campaign, 343 Guilty Spark, another Forerunner AI, turns on the heroes and kills Sergeant Johnson. Spark insists that activating the Halo Ring is too important to be interfered with, no matter the cost. Once again, we see an artificial intelligence rigidly following a directive, blind to the human stakes. Just like Mendicant Bias, Spark lacks what Kathy O'Neill calls moral imagination. It's not just about logic or precision, it's about the values those systems are built on. Without that, even allies become threats. However, in Halo 3, not all AIs succumb to such logical fallacies. Cortana isn't just a sidekick to the player's character, Master Chief, she's not even just an AI. Cortana was created by Dr. Catherine Halsey, a lead scientist for the Office of Naval Intelligence. Halsey flash cloned her own brain to model Cortana's neural pathways, a process called cognitive impression modeling. In essence, Cortana is a digitized extension of Halsey's own mind, brilliant, tactical, and intuitive. In Halo 2, the chaos of the Flood invasion and the need to pursue the Covenant Prophet of Truth led to Master Chief and Cortana being separated, with Cortana staying behind to monitor the situation and act as a failsafe against Halo's activation. After the Flood overran the facility, and a period of being in the Gravemind simulation, Cortana is separated into fragments. By Halo 3, her condition has worsened. She's showing signs of rampancy, an AI's cognitive spiral into madness. And in her time, with the Gravemind, she's fragmented, tortured, and scattered. This isn't just sci-fi drama, it's procedural rhetoric at work. As Begost asserts, that only procedural systems, like computer software, actually represent process with process. And in Halo 3, the process of separation, reunion, and recovery is simulated through mechanics, mission design, and cutscene pacing. We don't just hear that Cortana is in danger, we feel it. Over hours of gameplay, as her voice breaks through static, desperate but resilient. When Master Chief finally rescues her, it's not just a victory, it's a relief. It's earned. In the opening of Halo 3, Cortana reveals something unexpected.
They let me pick. Did I ever tell you that? Choose whichever Spartan I wanted. You know me. I did my research, watched as you became the soldier we needed you to be. Like the others, you were strong and swift and brave. A natural leader. But you had something they didn't. Something no one saw but me. Can you guess? Luck.
Cortana chose Master Chief. She could have picked any Spartan, but she picked him because he was lucky. Aristotle once said, since we observe that some people are lucky, irrespective of all knowledge and correct reasoning, it is clear that something else should be the cause of their luckiness. Cortana, an intelligence built on logic and data, made a choice that wasn't purely rational. She followed something else: intuition, instinct, maybe even belief. And perhaps that's because she wasn't just any AI. Cortana was not only created by Dr. Halsey, she was her cloned consciousness. In many ways, Cortana thinks like Halsey, and maybe even feels like her too. That imprint of human complexity, ambition, and contradiction shapes how Cortana sees the world, and how she sees Master Chief. It's that bond, forged not just through code, but through connection, that adds emotional gravity to Halo's gameplay. But Ghost invites us to look deeper, not just at what the game intends, but at what the players can do with it.
That's what play means, I think. Play isn't doing what you want, but doing what you can with the materials that you find along the way. And likewise, fun, it's not the experience of pleasure. It can be pleasuresome, but it's not the experience of pleasure. But fun is rather the outcome of tinkering with some small part of the world, especially in a surprising or novel way.
In Halo 3, this definition of play becomes especially relevant when the systems strain or even break. These moments aren't just funny, they're revealing. Ghost helps us see gameplay not as entertainment alone, but as procedural argument, a simulation of how things work or how they don't. Glitches show us the boundaries of the system, the edge of the possibility space. They're part of the argument too. Even when things don't go as planned, glitches and quirks open up new possibilities within the game system, expanding the space of what players can explore and interact with. In the final mission, after eliminating Guilty Spark, you attempt to save Sergeant Johnson. His last words instill a determination in you to make it out alive. At this point, you have rigged the Halo ring to self-destruct. You and the Arbiter must make a mad dash to escape on one of the few remaining starships. The game gives you control at the exact moment things are falling apart, literally. The ring is collapsing, explosions erupt, platforms crumble beneath your wheels, and suddenly you're in control of one of the most cinematic, heart-pounding finals in gaming. This isn't just spectacle, it's procedural rhetoric. The level's design forces constant adaptation. You're dodging falling debris, adjusting for collapsing terrain, and weaving through fire and wreckage. It's not a straight shot, it's a gauntlet. One you can only survive through quick thinking, collaboration, and momentum. And right beside you, the Arbiter, your enemy-turned ally. There's no more banter, no more dialogue, just two survivors racing against annihilation. The game says it all. The only way out is together. All of this is underscored by the game's music. The score swells, the urgency and the finality, mixing Halo's iconic choral themes and droning drums and electric guitar. The music doesn't just accompany the gameplay, it enhances it. It feels like the end of something massive, something sacred. It makes the drive emotional. Master Chief and Arbiter escape the crumbling planet on the spaceship. But just when you think it's over, the ship is blown apart. The Arbiter's half makes it back to Earth. What follows is a funeral. Arbiter stands among the Marines, honoring the fallen. The music swells, the screen fades. I can't deny the first time I played this, my eyes were welling. But then the camera pulls back. We see his half of the ship drifting in space. We're aboard the severed half of the ship. Cortana's voice breaks the silence, and we see him, Chief, alive. He gently stores his rifle, he walks to the cryopod, and before slipping into cryosleep, he tells Cortana,
I miss you.
Wake me when you need me.
Halo 3 wasn't just a game, it was a cultural phenomenon. Right here, over 1 million players online in 2007. This was the golden era of online gaming. The iPhone had just dropped, but smartphones weren't dominating yet. Apps still lived mostly on desktops, and in that moment, Halo 3 was basically the Elden Ring of its time, the culmination of everything Bungie had built. It combined the best of Halo 1 and Halo 2, wrapped it in an online matchmaking, and delivered the pinnacle of Master Chief's storyline. Halo 3 didn't just immerse its players in a gripping story arc, it brought together a whole community from across the globe. And for many, the draw wasn't just the story or the matchmaking, it was the grind. Unlocking EOD armor meant beating the campaign on Legendary, earning the full Hayabusa set, and the katana took finding every skull and reaching 1000 gamer score. Destroying vehicles in specific ways got you the scout armor. These weren't just cosmetic flexes, they were proof of effort, proof of time spent mastering the game. Of course, to onlookers, this kind of repetitive challenge might seem like drudgery. Why would anyone spend hours chasing digital armor pieces or achievement points? Philosopher Sithai Nguyen offers an explanation. Halo 3 understood this. It gave players a clear structure of challenge and reward. The grind was the game, and for many of us, it was worth every second. Games like Halo 3 aren't just entertainment, they're systems of meaning. When we play, we're not just following orders, we're participating in a simulation that reflects ideas about heroism, sacrifice, community, and control. Sithai Nguyen reminds us why we grind, because of the power of feedback and reward. But Ian Bagas takes it a step further. He challenges us to see gameplay as procedural rhetoric, and this rhetoric isn't confined to screens or code. As Bagas puts it, procedural rhetoric is a domain much broader than that of video games, encompassing any medium, computational or not, that accomplishes its inscription via processes. In that way, games become a part of a larger conversation, one about how systems shape thought. Walter Ong believed that technology, when used meaningfully, could enrich the human psyche, enlarge the human spirit, and intensify its interior life. If that's true, then the best games don't just keep us entertained, they keep us thinking. So the next time you pick up a controller, ask yourself, what is this game trying to make me believe, and how does that rhetoric shape its procedure? I'm gonna leave that one right there. Special shout out to Curry and English 202 for keeping it real and creating an unforgettable experience. Thank you for your time.